Welcome back to Daryl's Digest. Recently, I've recorded some dark videos. While they cover my agenda for this channel, living with dementia and depression, I do not want them to be common. I want to be able to watch these videos myself and laugh. So today I'm going to tell you some stories. They're all true. And I'm not going to change any of the names. I want them to be able to verify these stories if I ever lose them. Before I start, I want to give you an example of how our brains work. My neuroshrink told this to me. Consider your brain as being a metal filing cabinet. You know the ones, the tall ones, usually have 4 drawers. Each drawer holds big or green or brown hanging folders. You know the type that has 2 wire straps in them. Okay. Then in each one of those, you can put files, different files in those same folders. And each file can hold more than one document or piece of paper. Are you with me yet? Well, today you're in business. Hell, I don't know, you pick. You just met with a prospect who became a customer. You both signed a contract that will change your business and your life. After the customer leaves, you waddle over to your file cabinet. You probably already have a folder for this person, but you have them under a prospect section, please. So you grab the folder and you make a file for this contract. But now you hang it in your client or customer section. Our brains do the same thing. It has to see the memory, then process the memory. Then it has to file the memory so that when we need the memory, our brain can go back, find it, process it, and make it available for us to use. If any step in that process is not done correctly, you'll not be able to find that contract. Okay? Now, Dr. Bridgewater, Dr. Bridgman, or Bridge Too Far, I don't know who it was, told me that's what they don't know yet, is where the problem with the memory failure is in the process. Did you get that? Okay. Now here's the first story. Okay. This first story takes place in Brockway in the mid to late 80s. If you usually saw me at that time period, you'd see Mr. Mike. We had a ton of fun with a lot of different people. Mike and I would make a lot of trips down to Pittsburgh. Pennsylvania Route 28 starts in Brockway and ends in Pittsburgh. I'm sure it was built that way from Brockway to Pittsburgh, because why else would it be made? Well, I'm joking. Brockway did have several raw materials companies in Pittsburgh needed. First, we had a lot of coal that would be used in coke production for the steel industry. But then we were also the home of Brockway Glass, and we had 2 glass factories in this town. And those bottles would be used for Heinz. That was in Pittsburgh at that time. No longer is, but at that time it was. Mike and I perfected this deal. We would yell "Bonk" at people out a window. Would scare them. Now, don't ask why. We just had fun doing it. One beautiful, sunny summer day, we're in Mike's truck headed towards Pittsburgh. What for? Hell's bells, I don't know. Route 28 is a 2-lane road that goes through that goes through small towns. One of these towns is called New Bethlehem. Like I said, we had the windows down this day, and there was a lady on my side of the road who was unloading her vehicle. Heck, I don't know. It could have been an SUV, maybe a minivan. I don't think it was a station wagon in the mid to late 80s, but it could have been. She had the back open, and she's got her head and shoulders inside the vehicle. Now, at the perfect second, perfect millisecond, I go, "But!" This poor lady jumps. She hits her head on the inside of her vehicle. I'm telling you, Mike and I laughed our tailbones off. I even laughed as I was writing that down today. That she didn't get hurt. Mike and I would laugh about that for the next several trips driving down to Pittsburgh. Now, these next few stories come from the early 80s in McPherson, Kansas. Okay? Now, I got to tell you about McPherson, Kansas, because I doubt that most of you have been there. Okay? It is in the middle of the state of Kansas. And it is so flat in this part of Kansas that in the morning you can see the sun reflecting off the buildings in Washington, D.C. Okay? At night, you can see the shadows of the Rocky Mountains as the sun sets. This little town has 2 colleges in it. One is named for the town. It's a 4-year school. The one I attended was a JUCO on the other side of town. Now, for you Harvard-educated folk, that's a junior college. Okay? A college where students graduate, get a degree in 2 years. Not me, though. I took the 3-year plan. On our end of McPherson was an oil refinery. On the opposite end of McPherson was a cattle yard. You knew which way the wind was blowing by the smell every morning when you went outside. My freshman year, I needed something. I don't know, heck, toothpaste, deodorant, laundry detergent, I don't know, make something up. I never had a car those 3 years I was out there. So I got someone that was willing to take me out to the local department store. Now, this is way before the days of Walmart 24/7. Okay? This store was just letters, but I can't remember what they were. So let's just go with ABC store. That's what we'll call it. Okay? So we decide that we'll go out after dinner on Friday night. Now, I grew up on the East Coast where stores were open later on Friday than they were any other time. Okay? But no, not ABC in McPherson. We get out there on this Friday night and this parking lot's empty. I mean, ain't no cars, ain't even no dang tumbleweeds going through this parking lot. So I get up Saturday morning and I still need whatever the heck I needed Friday night. Oh, out to ABC store we go again. This time there's cars in the parking lot. Go in, I purchase whatever it was I needed. And being the jackass that I am, I asked them, what happened last night that you were closed? They looked at me and said, nothing. We always close early on Friday so we can go home and spend time with our family. Different world, folks. One of the interesting things about McPherson was every Friday and Saturday nights, folks would ride around circles up and down Main Street. Now, we did that in my hometown, so I was kind of used to it. Heck, if I could have got to school to teach a class on it, I'd have got a 4.0 out of that. There were a couple differences between my hometown and McPherson, though. First of all, McPherson had 2 colleges. My hometown at that time didn't have any. But second of all, we had plenty of parking downtown, and people would just stop and talk to each other, usually kids. And we were trying to talk to the girls, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Well, we would walk down there from the college. Now, on this particular night, I don't know who walked down with me. There's a group of guys that I'm going to tell you about on the rest of these stories that are the greatest guys on the face of the earth. We have all connected with Facebook recently, except for Jeff. These guys are Thomas, Rowdy, Larry, Jeff, Dean, Dino, or Pops. Now, it could have been any one of them with me. But right now I'm going to talk to you about Thomas. Thomas was a skinny little kid that originated here in Pennsylvania also. Very athletic. He was a starting shortstop on the college team, on the college baseball team. To this day, this man does not have a bad bone in his body. Thomas is the only one of these guys I've seen in person since 1984. He drove up to my house after my brain started fighting with me and spent a couple hours with me. Now hold up now. I do not want a single one of you to think this skinny ass sumbitch is an angel, 'cause he ain't. Okay? Him and I were going to stay in McPherson one summer, but we couldn't find a job. That's probably what kept us both out of jail. Now let me describe this skinny, dark-complected, dark-haired, Italian-looking dude for you. This kid had the strangest walk I've ever seen in my life. How about it, Rowdy? His strut, he'd swing his arms behind his back, excuse me, so far he could slap his opposite butt cheek. Now I want you to just stop whatever you're doing. And I want you to think about this. In your mind, picture a toothpick. Okay? Now picture this toothpick walking away from you. Okay? Now give that toothpick 2 arms. Give it 2 butt cheeks. Now every time that toothpick takes a step, 1 arm comes back and touches the opposite butt cheek. Now, put a baseball cap on that toothpick. You just drew a picture of Thomas. Now, till you know that ain't nothing but the doc giving you love. Who was part of this group that night, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that Rowdy was one of them. But that's only a feeling. And the reason is because Rowdy and our charm usually left us by ourselves. Okay? We didn't have too many females hanging around us. But Thomas could have been there. Some of the other ones could have been there. That night we come across some local guys. We stood there and talked to them for a while. I mean, these are good old boys. Okay? Pretty soon they start BSing about their pet skunk. Now I'm going to tell you, I'm 57 years old. I ain't never heard of no one having a pet skunk. I mean, heck, Joe Exoto didn't have no dang pet skunk with his lions. Okay? But they tell us they got this pet skunk. Now pretty soon one of these good old boys opens the door of their pickup truck and he produces this skunk. Now I'm eye to a skunk. The only thing I can think worse is being eye to tail with the skunk. I don't want to be eye to no sting skunk. But they told me this is a pet skunk and it's had his scent gland removed. Now I want you to think about this, because I know I ain't never. Have you ever seen a service at any veterinary place you went to that said skunk scent removal? Me neither. I don't know how them good old boys did that, but boy, they did it. Now, guys, I want you to think that happened in the early 80s. I can tell you that stuff. But I can't tell you anything about that picture I showed you the other day from 2013. Nothing. This next one. This is definitely me and Rowdy. You want to sponsor me, good doctor? Anybody knows him, give him a call. I'm positive on this. Me and Rowdy, one night, our charm had worked perfectly for us again, and it's just the two of us. We're hanging out in this building where it was basically the main building for anything other than classrooms for our school. The top floor had the dining room on one end of a hall. The other end had a lounge with a TV and some chairs. You went down a flight of steps. This is the main entrance now. And the campus bookstore was there. The mailboxes was there. The Tiger Den, which was our snack bar, that was there. There were two or three, I can't remember how many, but there were either two or three glass sets of entrance doors. Okay. And then there was another set of steps that went down to the basement, and that's where the library was, in the game room. Now, for you younger folk, you're not going to believe this, but our game room consisted of a pool table and a ping pong table, because video games, like you know them, were not around. They weren't invented yet. So this particular building this night was just me and Rowdy, and we were just hanging out. Now, from the doors of the cafeteria over to the steps, they built a ledge. Okay, that's pretty smart. That way nobody gets pushed from the top floor down to the third floor. Okay? But now, come on, you got to stay with me on this. This institution of higher education decided on top of this ledge, they're going to put plastic flowers. Now, that ain't so bad. But they put limestone chips in there too. Then they didn't cover the damn chips up. So, Rowdy and I, we're leaning against this ledge, and only God knows which one of the two of us decided it'd be a good idea to see if we could make these limestone chips skip down there on that main floor of whatever, on that main floor. All right, you know what I'm trying to say. Well, one of us two geniuses started it. And I'm telling you, if there'd have been females around that night, they'd have been damn impressed with our super stone skipping skills, because we were skipping stones like anything and having a blast. I didn't tell you this, but I got to tell you now. This JUCO back in the early 80s was administered by a small, very, very conservative Christian church. Okay. They had rules like male and females couldn't mingle in their own dormitories, only in lounges. The dormitories were completely segregated. Um, they had no alcohol, obviously no drugs. They had an academic probation. They had a social probation. And heck, for me, I think they made up a couple different probations. I don't know. I'm sure that Roddy made a couple of those pro lines as well as I did. Shitsky, Roddy, I just thought of this. I have no idea what the statute of limitations is in McPherson, Kansas. So if a Kansas state trooper comes knocking at your front door, run out the back door and don't you dare stop. As I said, our two young heroes are skipping stones and having fun, and that ain't no Crocodile Rock. But all of a sudden, one of these stones goes through one of them glass doors. Okay? Now, it don't make no little hole where it goes through. All the glass comes tumbling down. Okay? Now, Rowdy and I both know that our graduation is on the line if someone spots us leaving this building and turns us in. We're between this building and our dorm is a minor street, a major street, and a building that holds the gymnasium. I guarantee you we'd have beat the Flash from this building over to our dormitory. Now, Rowdy's room was right across from mine. We both entered our rooms that night, and I'm sure his mind saw the same vision of mine did. Somebody knocking at our door. I'm telling you, Rowdy and I never spoke about that night the rest of the time we were together. Recently, on some social platform, I posted this story. Roddy said he don't remember. I'm sure, Roddy, you and I are going to meet each other someday, and you're going to remember it better than I do. Well, anyhow, the next morning, we get up, and we hear that the McPherson police believe that a local drove through town and threw a stone in the door. Now, I don't know to this day, did somebody clean up them stones that we were throwing? Or did those poor police just miss them? Now, I hope you are enjoying these stories. But I want you to see how difficult it is to deal with this disease. That's a story from the spring of 1984. I got one more for you. This one I told Coach and Miss Hibb the last time I was at their home. For you younger guys, you got to Google cars from the mid-70s to the mid-80s. Somewhere in that list, you're going to see what I'm talking about. a box with 4 wheels. Now that's what Larry had. Larry had one of them cars. It was just a box with 4 wheels. Okay, I can't remember if his was a 4-door or just a 2-door. But this story happens in Larry's car. Now, all these dudes I'm talking to you about, I'd do anything for. They're all great guys. Larry's a great guy, comes from a great family, very athletic, very tall. He was a forward on the basketball team. Okay, really athletic group. Comes from Yuma, Colorado. His brother won a major PGA event in Ohio a few years ago. Larry was his caddy. Larry never got in trouble as much as me and Rowdy, because Larry was always better with women than we were. But this night, Larry's driving. Manning the other front seat is Rowdy. I don't even know where to start with Rowdy. Okay? Rowdy's this big, wide body from somewhere in Oklahoma. On the basketball court, he had one of the sweetest shots you'll ever see from a big guy. But he could not get up and down that floor. Oh my. Anyhow, in the middle of the bench seat in the back was Jeff. Jeff was a catcher for the college baseball team. Jeff was built like a catcher, stocky. He's probably the strongest of all of us. He was from Joplin, Missouri. He took me to his hometown once, the hometown of the Iron Sheik and the Joplin Cheese Factory. On the far side was Dean, Pops, my roommate. Pops was a fan of the Pirates and the Steelers, but he was one of the most athletic people I've ever seen in my life. We were the same height, and we had the same body build. But God had blessed him with the ability to do things with his body that other people can't. When he was running down the floor on a basketball court, he showed no effort. Blew past everybody. One day,